is a Jandy valve. This is where everything goes into before it goes to the pump. So it comes up here, kept it stopped right here, so it comes up here, goes over, goes down through here, up through the bottom and back into there. All right, so these Jandy valves are unique in this way. They have a small notch and 3 big notches. See them?
Okay, yep.
And you get a small notch, which is pointing this way. So it only will go on one way comfortably. You can cram it on any number of ways, but it slides on one way, right?
Gotcha.
Right? Like that, all right? So it is splined right there and splined right there. So if you got grandkids or anybody that messes with stuff, you can actually tighten it down pretty good, and those splines will hold it on there pretty well. All right? Normally we're going to have this line right here off. This is your skimmer line. I do have some skimmer stickers now I didn't have the other day, so I'm going to put a skimmer sticker on the top of that. All right, so what I didn't show you, the off. See where that off is and the lines around it?
Yep.
There's a shield directly beneath that in here. So if I go like this, that shield's up here and it's sucking for both of those 50-50 pretty much, right? If I put it right here, it's only sucking from this one 100%. This one's now off. All right, so that being off, this is your skimmer return. That water that you felt in that nozzle coming out is this. Now the difference in these things are, these are opposite of ball valves. A ball valve is like this. So this is off right there, right? Right there, about 45-degree angle is where we want to have it to get the 6 gallons a minute for it to be skimming over there.
Okay.
Okay. These right here are the same as, that's a 3-way valve. These are 2-way valves. So these are off right now. See where the off is? That off is made to straddle those 2 holes or 2 lines, those two, all the way around. You can feather it how you want it to be feathered, up and down to get the different sound you want or the look you're looking for. But it's made that for that to be off, both of those are straddling those 2 screws. Now that pipe is off. We have nothing coming out of the bubbler.
Okay, so fountain equals bubbler.
Yeah, I got bubbler stickers now too since I was here last. So finally got them in. Waterfall is your shear descent. I don't have any shear descent ones though. All right, so you probably aren't going to have that one on all the time, I don't imagine, unless you're out here.
Probably not.
You could. This one right here, I would always have on a little bit. Okay, up, maybe even a little bit higher, about 6 inches. Moving. Yeah, because if it's rippling, the water rippling off right there.
Yeah.
That might be a little bit too high. So one little click on that is kind of touchy, you know. But what that does is the ripples that come off of there, any dust that falls on there, it helps to keep that top bench cleared off.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to worry about that so much. And it keeps any leaves blown out of there, so they don't allow it to sink in there.
Okay. Right? You said so. How often is that on?
This is going. We're going to go over the timer here in just a second.
Okay.
Okay. So I would leave that on all the time. So whenever the pump's on, it's on. If it's big, because it's not. You're not going to evaporate a lot of water, because what water evaporates when it leaves the water and splashes down and it evaporates a little bit, rippling like that. But more for cleanliness, and if you're out here, you can hear it a little bit. Most of those are for sound things, right?
Right.
All right. So your shear descents, you want to make sure when it's on, it's clearing the wall, so it's not running down the wall. Or you start to get alkalinity stains and stuff on there. Kind of. Don't ever take acid and just spray it on the rock trying to get rid of it. You get you sounds funny, a brass welding brush, you know, like welders use, a good one. It's like $12, and it only got bristles like a toothbrush, but it works good at cleaning that white stuff off of that rock. And vinegar, white vinegar. If it starts to happen, and sooner or later it's going to happen no matter how good you are at it, just because the makeup of our water. Okay, so we got our skimmer line. I'm going to put a skimmer on here too. Skimmer returns, what I'm going to call it. I didn't have very many stickers we couldn't do that day, and it rained on us. All right, so our pull return is right here. So this is where the water comes in this way, comes up this way, goes across this way, and it goes down right here, and it goes down right here. The Polaris line right here is your cleaner suction and your cleaner return. This is where it connects in the wall. That's where this part of it goes. That right there is how it gets fed the water.
Okay.
Everything else over here is the return manifold except for that one part. Okay? I will put arrows on there for you to make it a little bit easier to help visualize. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that we didn't have those on there, but we didn't have a lot
of
stuff.
That was a weird go.
Yeah, well, that's really weird. Right, so the water here is going down, the water here is going up, the water here is going down. All right, as it goes through here. This right here is where your ozone connects and makes the bubbles out of that box right there. And at nighttime, when you look out here, you can kind of see it now from some shade, but normally in the daylight, you can't see this green light. It'll last for about 2 years, and when that goes out, that's when you need to have it serviced. Nothing you need to do about it till then. It has a check valve in it, so it doesn't allow water to push up in here. It sucks water, the air out of there down into it. Okay. So that's all good. So right now we're running on 2. Speed 2 is at 2750. That's like having a horse to a horse and a half. You see that?
I do, yeah.
Okay. If I want to change that, these are the only two. See the time clock right there? These are the only two parts of the timer that you can run a time clock. Number 1 is your normal operation. And I need to turn the players. You don't want to have the players running so much so when the lower speed's on, because it doesn't hardly move. And actually, I'm perfect timing. Look at, I want to show you something here. So this face, to set the time on this face,
Yeah.
if it gets caught in this position like this, you have to pull it out
Okay.
and turn it. Because what it was doing right there, I was trying to close it, and that it won't let me go back because the pegs are hitting on there. So for right now, I'm going to turn that back, and I'm going to turn this back to number 1 since it has a program that sped back up. I don't know if you heard it speed back up, but
I did, yeah.
all right. So number 1 should be 1750 when it turns on. That timer's trying to overkill me every time, darn it. Now it should do it. I'm going to show you how to do it. So it goes into priming speed, which is at 2500, I believe is what it primes at. Whenever you turn it off and start it back up, it does that for 3 minutes, and then it'll go back to the speed it's supposed to be running at. When it runs at 1750, which is normally speed number 1, it runs about 300 to 350 in watts. It's like having 3.5 light bulbs on, okay?
Okay.
It's like having a 1/4 horsepower pump. You need to run it for a longer amount of time during the day at that lower speed to get it to, we want to turn the water over 1.5 times.
Okay.
Then when the players turns on, it's going to turn it on real fast. It's going to help to turn the water over faster. You don't need to run it 24 hours a day, but if you run it for about 12 hours a day, 3 hours on a higher speed, 9 hours on the lower speed, you'll turn your water over 1.5 times. Water should stay pretty clear normally under normal circumstances. All right, and I'm going to show you how to set these. I'm going to talk for about 3 minutes till the priming part of it goes off so you can see what it does.
Yeah, okay.
These ones right here are set for whatever speed. Like one's called waterfall and one's called cleaner or something, I think. You can make those any names you want. You can customize them, but basically all they are is just bypasses to get off the timer to make more water. If you have a party and you want to have the shears going off faster than what they normally would go off, you can go over here and hit those higher speeds. And once that goes off, I'll show you how that works. When you go higher or lower on speeds or on time changing or anything like that on your schedules, you want to hit this outside edge of that button. I know the arrow's right in the middle, but if you hit right in the middle, it goes like 1, 2, 3. It takes forever, but if you hold that here, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let me just start ripping the numbers out. Okay, so you can get up and down pretty quick on it. It should be just about off. Speed number 2 should be in coordinates with this turning on so that it has the right amount of RPMs to the pump, which will make the right, because this is only a booster pump. It's not in other words, you sit there and it can suck and suck and suck, but it's not going to suck water that far very easy. But it's going to be fed water right there so it can push the water off a lot easier. All right, so it's a secondary type of pump. The hardest thing I told you earlier about that we'll have to do, and well, that does it. I want to show you something about the filters here. This is a 9/16 inch. My son, which you probably won't ever meet because he don't work with me no more, he's 21. When he's 12, he used to throw rocks really bad everywhere we went, so I've made him clean filters. 1 9/16 ratchet, drill, socket, wrench, whatever you want to do, that's the only tool you need to take that off.
Okay.
All right, so you turn this off by hitting the button, making the lights go off, or you can turn the breaker off, either way. That turns the pump off, so it's not going to turn on. That clamp, you take that off right there, that clamp swings out on both sides. That little deal right there, the good thing to put right here is river rock, like 1 inch size or bigger, because that right there is what we use to drain the filter when we clean the filter.
Yeah.
So it's only hand tight, you open it up and it's going to go glug, 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 glug. Well, right here is an air cleaner. Sorry, I'm waiting for Ford to call me. Okay, so there it went to 1750. Right now I'm letting the air out, which is about to blow water out. I don't normally use that to bleed the air out. I normally would open that up when I'm draining the water out, because that glug, 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 with the water comes shooting out. You open that up, that's about 40 gallons worth of water probably. Whoosh, comes out real fast. It's going to come out and it's going to hit right there. And if you don't have, you just have that dirt clay right there, it'll drill a hole, and after about the 3rd time you do it, it's going to be a deep hole, okay?
Yeah.
Critters will start climbing in there stuff, but the only time you take that off would be during that time. That air cleaner, you can use it as you want. Between this diamond and that diamond is 10 points. The manual tells you at 8 points you want to clean it, right? So what I usually tell people is if you wait 8, you waited too long. right now, being running on that low speed, it doesn't even register a pressure. It's so smoothly running everything. That's how it runs so efficient. We're going to turn it back on speed number 2, and it'll probably go up to 12. I'm going to set this to where it's at 5 points in the middle. So when it goes up 5 points, if it's not May 1st or November 1st, you want to clean the filter. What usually will cause that, something oily, shiny, a lot of dust, but mainly landscaping things will cause that to build, and suntan oil.
Yeah.
Okay, because you want some people wear suntan lotion and oil and stuff, but it'll get in there and start to coat it. When I go hit number 2 over there in a second, you'll see it'll jump up to 12. Number 3, it'll probably jump up to about 18. We want to set it on something that, and I'm going to have you write it down or take notes of it. When we have it on speed 2, that's where our clean speed, we're going to call that our clean speed.
Okay.
Okay, and then that's when we're going to measure the gauge. Because if you go to clean it and it goes, we have it set at say 12 in the middle, and then you click it on speed number 4, and it's going to go way above where the 5 points is, and then you'd be cleaning it a lot more than you need to.
Yeah.
I tell people to clean it usually on April 1st and May 1st, or May 1st and November 1st, because November you're usually done with swimming. So you go into the winter, people have a tendency to get a little bit lazier, keeps it all good until spring. May, because the spring's already happened and all the crud's falling out of the trees and everything, so you get it out of your yard, then you get it out of your filter, you have a lot better season.
Okay.
Okay.
So when we
And that's written on there.
So when we get this set the way we want to get it set,
Uh-huh.
the zone between the 2 arrows is good.
It's good, yep. But
And-
we're going
and
to set
if
it towards that 5 psi from the top arrow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to hit number 2 here so you can see it. I'm guessing about 12. So number 2, right now we're running it 1750, right?
Yep.
But you can tell it's barely making any sound, but you look over, you can see the water moving on the pool. It's good enough, right? So we hit number 2. Goes up to 27. What do you go up to?
Right at about 8.
8?
Yeah.
Okay, so as long as we use that to measure what our pressure is, we're okay. 3 is going to make it higher, 4 is going to make it higher, but speed number 2 is a good one to go off of. And if we take and we split the difference between the 2 of them, it'd be about 13. That's when you'd want to clean it if it's not one of those other 2 times. I doubt with the landscaping you have right now, and you probably aren't going to have a gazillion Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts in there swimming and stuff.
Yeah.
So you won't have a lot of suntan oil and stuff. You'll be able to clean it twice a year. Okay, so I have a lady that cleans it every quarter. Her filters are 7 years old. You can't hurt them by cleaning them more. You can't, you know, but what hurts them is by not cleaning them. And if you tried to set it at that 0 psi on the other one, you'd never see it go up 5 psi going that slow. Here, at least, because you can see the water rippling over there now.
Yeah.
The bubbles aren't near as bad sounding over there, but when you turn it on to higher speeds, it will be. Right, so if we went over here, we went to speed number 3. If we had the shear on them, we had the bubbler, we wanted to go up about 2 foot high and stuff like that, we're going to go to number 3. The same, so if I hold it up here, if you watch it, see it jump up by 10. I'd say probably about 3,000. Yeah, pretty good with that filter. You can play from however you need. If you want to get it back in the corner, that's in the corner. You can break out the top step. If you open up the section on there, and grab it on the other side, you try to make it all the section you got there in the bottom of the skin. So you got to get underneath that corner.
Never went above 10 though.
Yeah, a lot above 10, right? About 20 when it was hitting?
No, I was watching it, never went
On that
above
last
10. Yeah.
Well, filters are still good and clean. Even though your pool's a little cloudy, that'll help pull it out.
So where is all this pollen if it's not in there?
I'm going to show you here in just a second. That's stage number 3.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to go test the water. Now now that I kind of showed you this, we'll go over it more, I believe, in repetition. I know kind of background, but I want to teach you the things a couple different times.
All right.
You got my number. You can always call me, text me. I'm happy to answer it for you. I won't do it when I'm doing post school, but
Yeah.
unless you're Ford and I don't have my truck for 4 weeks, so
Appreciate that.
sorry. All right, so we're going to go over the valves one more time, which you probably already got them. So if I was going to have to suck from the skimmer, if I put that down like that, that splits the suction between the 2 of them. If I took it down like that, that makes the suction only out of the skimmer and not out of the main drain no more, because I blocked that one off down here.
Okay.
You see how I did that? So the off is blocking this pipe right here. Now the off is blocking this pipe.
Mm-hmm.
Now the off is blocking no pipe. It's just
Okay.
letting both of them flow through. But since we're returning through the skimmer, you a lot better off to have that one off and use the momentum because you clear the water faster, your chemicals circulate better, everything going off the bottom.
Okay,
Okay.
so generally speaking,
Main
that's
That's,
drain.
that's the way
position.
I would have it.
Yeah.
So if I call you and tell you, or you call me and you have a problem, I might say, take a picture of your equipment. That means step back about 5 foot. Just take a picture. That's why I put the labels on the front so I can see
Yeah.
what it is, and then I can tell you where to begin if we have issues. Cause their pools are pretty much standard in the way they plumb things, and the blue handle is always the skimmer. And if you open that wide open on that higher speed, you hear a pop, like a popcorn popper thing, pop, 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 pop. Because trying to blow through it too fast, and it's backing the water up, which makes it pop. Kind of similar to with the ozone, but a little bit different sound
Okay.
that makes the bubbles come out. All right. So we're going that right there. If you ever have, I don't know what insurance company you have, but if you tell them you got a firefighting device in your backyard, they're going to laugh at you, not say nothing. You put a 200-foot hose on there and a little fire hose nozzle, and you use it to drain. As we are right now, you could drain your pool down to 6 inches of water through that right there.
Okay.
It'll shoot you, a fire hose nozzle will shoot about 50 foot off a 200-foot of hose with that on speed number 4. And you keep anything from burning down your neighbor's house, the insurance company within 2 days, I promise you, will show up and give you a heck of a discount. They'll pay to fill your water back up. They'll do all kinds of stuff for you because you saved them a lot of money.
Yeah.
One guy I had $750,000 house, I think USAA or State Farm, I think it was USAA, showed up and his insurance cost him $340 a year. He saved astronomical, but he kept his $200,000 barn and roof from burning, his neighbor's house from burning, his house from
Yeah.
burning. But he drained his pool all the way down to right when the fire department got there. He had no more water left.
Yeah, we're with State Farm.
And,
So
and
they're
you would
good.
and you would do that simply by attaching a
A
hose
hose,
to this
huh?
and a fire nozzle.
Fire nozzle, and you
Yeah,
just
turn
open
it
that
on.
up, and then you turn that on pump speed number 4
Okay.
up there, and that'll give you the best. Which it'll make a lot of racketing stuff because backing the water up, but it's putting the pressure there you need. As long as you have power, you don't have power, you kind of SOL with that
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah.
But usually it'll be coming like this way with the wind blowing or however it's coming. As long as you keep it wet, you'll save everything, and your insurance company will really appreciate it. But if you called them right now, they might try to charge you more for having a pool than
Yeah.
instead of giving you a discount. But I've had 3 people, the 2 were State Farm and 1 was USAA, that they all told me, you're right, within 2 days, because they get a report every day where the fires are, the fire departments, whatever, I don't know how it goes, but they'll be at your house knocking on your door knowing that there's an issue. And they'll know that you already helped them, they'll know the pool's empty, because all that's written down in a report somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay. So
Alright.
what's happening there?
So it happened right there. That's where our water. I
That's
think
water
there's something-
coming in.
Yep, that's water coming up these pipes, over, down this, and up underneath there, going in there. So in here's where your magic pollen is that you're looking for.
That's
But
what
the
I was
third place
thinking.
we're going to go. We're going to go test the water. We're going to add a little bit of chemicals, and then you guys are going to test the water, see how easy it is to adjust.
Okay.
I already put the clarifier in there. I'll leave that clarifier with you. You can add it tomorrow. You could add it a third day, but you don't add it more than 3 days in a row. Give it 3 days off because it will start to cloud the water because it works so hard trying to clear the water.
Okay.
Okay, but it will catch it. It makes that pollen because oak pollen is about a size 12. Pecan's about a size 11 to 12. And 2 of them stuck together, a 20 micron filter will pull out. Otherwise, it's got to go through that filter 4, 5, 6 times before all the little barbs on it catch them. So that's why I said it would clear really quick. The Polaris on, you can always run the Polaris anytime you want to. Just flip the little switch on right there, but just want to make sure you have one of the higher speeds on. 2 or higher would be what you'd want to have it on. It doesn't matter which one it is. It has water that pops. You see water coming up where it connects to the wall. That's a pop-off valve. If it's getting too much pressure, it comes out right there, so it doesn't make the thing run over drastically, wear it out.
Okay. Remind me to ask him about Polaris when we get there.
Okay.
How it's come apart.
Coming apart. Yeah.
Couple times
The
I
hose,
made-
the hose did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Several
okay.
times.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll tighten it down here because
Okay.
it's the way it goes on. It's tapered. The tapered end
Yeah.
goes on the male part, and you
Right.
screw it out. A
Yeah.
lot of times people put on the hose and try to screw it down on the barb, and sorry we didn't get that together right for you, but it'll be a simple fix.
Okay, so agree or disagree with this. Never, ever, ever try to take these off while it's running.
Not because
Because
just the
it's
water will
under
go down.
pressure,
Yeah. Well, no, these are under suction. The pressure doesn't start till it gets outside of that. See, if I lift this one up right now, it's going to suck all the water out of here. And since we're above the water over there, if we were down below the water, it would keep water going through it. And it's flooded suction, we wouldn't have no problem. If
Okay.
I open this up, it's going to just basically go, all the water in here is going to go down, it's going to go down, it's going to come up over there.
Yeah.
Then we just got to reprime it. You want me to do it and show you so you don't, so it's not a problem? Pretty simple. There's
Yeah,
simple ways to do
I
it.
guess we could.
So
but-
like, I don't want to open that one. I'd rather open this one because that one's
Right.
got the suction, so that'll at least suck the water out of here. If I open that one, It just suck a little bit of water down and nothing else is going to happen.
Well, do you want to wait until we get to phase 3?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
All right, let's go test the water and get that part started. I want you to be comfortable with. There's nothing that's going to hurt you with anything.
Well,
Except
that's
for electricity, it always hurts.
yeah. that's all we're about is trying to make sure we're learning this and getting it down the right way.
Is that see the little ripples coming off of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was talking about. So that right there will help keep leaves pushed off. But dirt too, the dust that's in the air, it'll ripple it off so it doesn't so much settle up there.
Yeah.
Right? The best way to brush is if you stand there and you brush right out the middle.
Yep.
Brush, stop, count to at least 1 or 2, you know?
Yeah.
Or pick it up and bring it out.
it
You
up.
can do it on those, but over here, I would push it off on the benches, just, you know,
That's what
push
I've
and
been
stop,
noticing.
and that way it gets away, it allows it to clear.
Yeah.
Right, the right way to use these strips, there's going to be 49 left. You're going to do it here in about 15 minutes. Then you have 48 left. If you did it once a week, more power to you. The important thing about chemicals in a pool, do them the same day every week. How our pool accounts are
Okay.
successful for us, we go to the same pool every Monday, every Tuesday, every Wednesday. We can control 7 days worth of water, weather, or anything else. We can't control 10 days so easy. So if you go Monday one day, Friday next week, and doing this, if nothing else, you don't have to do everything else. Just do your water so you get it in a good pattern. Then you can run it efficiently. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of chemicals.
Yeah. We'll set
Okay.
a
So-
reminder.
What I'm going to do is hold it in my left hand.
Okay.
I'm going to dip this in my right hand down about there. I'm going to pull it out sideways. The sideways part
Right.
lets the water run off and the colors go. This first one's only accurate for 15 seconds. So I usually take my thumb and I mark where it is
Okay.
as I look at the other ones. The other ones won't really change, but this one can go from right here at the very bottom to the very high in 5 minutes.
Wow.
It can go from right here to right there in 2 minutes. So you got 15 seconds to kind of look at where that is. And it's not a perfect science. You want to look at the center of the strip. Okay, if all three of us do the liquid test kit, we're going to squeeze the bottles differently. I'm probably going to squeeze them quicker than you. You're probably going to squeeze them a little bit softer. I'm just assuming. No. And you're probably going to be more firm on it. So all of us are going to have a different pH reading. When you look up at the sky with the drops, the pink color, it's always, no matter how, you can have 5 people in it, not very often is it the same. This is always the same when you dip it and pull it out.
Okay. So are you suggesting we don't do the liquid?
I use the
tests?
liquid for a backup test, unless you got DPD liquid test, which you don't. You have a rainbow type of kit that has Oto. Oto is you can put it in water that has no chlorine, and if you leave it in there for 10 minutes, it starts to turn yellow and then goldish color because the Oto is activated. It tests total chlorine. These test free chlorine. There's a big difference in the two of them. Free chlorine is what's fighting right now. Total chlorine is what's builds up over the winter, and then you get algae and stuff starting to happen, even though you have a high chlorine reading, because it's not a total, or it's a total chlorine, not a free chlorine fighting what you have. All right, there's all kinds of things you can research up on it, but main thing is free chlorine tells you when you need to shock or not shock. If you're doing good, total chlorine doesn't tell you any of that stuff. It's just kind of a, yeah, there's yellow there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So
Okay.
we're gonna dip it in here. Sorry for my umbrella. I thought it was gonna
All
rain
right.
on us. I stopped
Well,
and bought that 'cause I thought it was gonna get nasty.
It might.
So I'm gonna take it and put it down. I'm gonna pull it out.
Just that long.
Just that long. Okay, so right now I'd say we're pretty close to the 8.4 right there, right?
Yeah.
If you look at the center of it,
Yeah.
the purple is none, that's the chlorine. The green is your alkalinity. It's about 160 to 180, right in between those ones. Your stabilizer is down here about half in between those, which is right on, each one of these has a okay and a not okay.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, high and a low. What I'm gonna do right now is normally a 7.8, it says okay on these strips. A 7.8 is not okay. 7.8, you start to get the white line. At 8.0 and 8.2 and 8.4, there's, to go from those two, you gotta use your imagination a little bit here. From 7.8 to 8.4, you got 7.8, 8.0, 8.2, and 8.4. Each one of those is a quarter gallon of acid. So if you pull it out and it's 7.8, look how much purple it's getting now. It's off the charts. So what that tells me is, if you're closer, like an 8.0 or 8.2, and once you start doing this, you'll add a quarter gallon a week, pretty much every week. I can tell you, just because your water makeup and the balance of the water, because you're going to have evaporation of a quarter inch of water a day, that's 2 inches of water a week. For every 2 inches, you're going to add a quarter gallon of acid to counterbalance the alkalinity and stuff that you're adding to it.
Okay.
That's pretty much for Edwards Aquifer and stuff out here. That's standard, okay? So, and I would suggest once a month taking your water sample to any pool store that has a printout thing. Let's let you pull one anywhere. They'll give you put it in a folder. Save it for the first year. You save that, no matter how good or how bad it is. If there's a problem with the plaster, the first thing the plaster company will say, oh, it's chemical damage, whether it is or not. Anthony Silva will say, I don't care. They did their diligence. They showed us water samples, and they'll come back and they'll fix anything that would happen with the plaster. I don't anticipate you having it, but they did have a few people a couple years ago. One principal lady still comes in our store every other week, and she goes to her step over there and pours her acid right on top of the step, and she's on the phone with her friends, and she forgets if she added acid, so she always adds it again in the same spot. She had a purple teardrop. It ate all the colors around everything except for purple in the rock that she had. And it was definitely chemical damage, but Anthony Sylvan has the attitude, they don't care. They may come back and plaster the whole pool for her after 2 years.
Wow.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's worth all the
Yeah.
troubles you had. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
those are yours. You want to keep them indoors. I'm going to
Yeah.
have you tested after I add a gallon of acid and I add a gallon of liquid chlorine. You'll see in about 15 minutes, we should be pretty close to perfect on all of them.
okay.
Okay? And it's literally that easy. So normally if you're 7.8, you'd add a quarter gallon of acid once a week on your day to do chemicals.
7.8.
Yep. 8.0, which if you don't do it 1 week, the next week it's going to be 8.0. Like since I was here that first time, it's been 4 weeks. We're adding 4 quarts basically. Each one of those is a quart. That's how
Storm
it adds
day
up.
when you came was March 21st. You
And
came
today-
back Wednesday the
today's-
23rd when he was in Vegas,
Uh-huh.
right before you went to Vegas.
Uh-huh.
So
Did you
23rd
gamble? I
of
didn't.
March was the last, last
I
time
don't
we saw
gamble.
you.
I don't need. I lived there a long time ago. So I'm going to add those in here first. I'm going to add the chemicals.
All right. So Tom,
Mm-hmm.
it is where we've been brushing. Is that
That is algae. Okay.
that's algae, not pollen?
Yep. Pollen's going to be like on the floor where you look at
Yeah.
the floor or
Well,
any
we've had
benches.
Tons of that.
Pollen will settle out on the bottom. Algae, you could go 5 years and algae will never grow on your floor or on a flat surface.
Okay.
Never. I mean, it might look like algae, but it's just pollen sitting there on your wall like that. Usually starts 18. I'd say the sun goes down probably over here, right?
Yeah.
So wherever the sun goes down, 18 inches beneath the water surface, which is
Okay.
about where that is
Yeah.
where it starts. And
Huh.
in a week, it can be all over everywhere, but that's okay because right now your water's brand new. It is way forgiving, brand new water is. So you don't have to use algicides. You don't have to use any of that special stuff yet. That little cartridge that's in with the orange lid over there,
Yeah.
that is an algicide built into it. So that's going to take care of
Okay.
stumping the growth once we get the chlorine up.
Okay.
Okay, so when you brush it, it'll come off and it's all good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't worry about an algicide till about 2 years to 2.5 years to 3 years because being that the water's brand new, it's real forgiving in things that happens with it. Okay,
All
chlorine
right.
will kill almost anything at that point, as long as you don't have any
Okay.
dead animals or
Yeah, I
anything
mean, we
in there.
had
Then
so much pollen that I couldn't even see the drain.
I went to one the other day. It had 4 inches. You couldn't
Yeah.
see the coping. You could see, but you couldn't see water anywhere in the whole pool. And it was dry. The tassels were dry. They were so thick. And one
Yeah.
day, I was there the day before. That storm came in, and it was like, wow. Got them all out of the tree real quick, but
Yeah.
you need a shovel to get them
Yeah.
out of the pool.
There's a blessing and a curse to the wind.
So what I'm going to
Yeah.
do is you always add your chemicals right in front of where a return jet is.
Okay.
So this is the liquid chlorine I'm going to put in there first. I like to use liquid chlorine for the first month and a half, because it doesn't have anything heavy in it, so it's not going to sink to the bottom if you're on well water.
Which, well, we are, but
Yeah.
this is city water.
City water?
That
We
was
got truck
delivered.
tons,
Yeah.
Okay, how much that cost you?
About
$12.50.
$12.50.
My guy just paid $3,800 to fill his. He had someone that charged him $800 a truckload, and I think they gypped him on the truckloads. I think they weren't 8,000 gallons.
Well, we used Emils out of Blanco, and
He's a nice
it was a 6,000 gallon
and
tank.
he's pretty full every time he comes.
He came twice.
Yep.
We filled up the pool, had a little left over, so he pumped it into our holding tank for the well. Yeah.
When you pour acid, that's liquid. That leaves a yellow stain on your clothes.
Yeah.
A yellow bleach spot. Acid leaves a pink stain, so you want to be careful.
Okay.
That's why I set it down and let it pour itself, basically, instead of letting
Yeah.
it go on me.
Okay.
You never mix any chemicals outside of the pool. I can pour this acid right there next to where the chlorine's being poured in, but if I pour it in a bucket, it'll kill me.
Yeah.
Really, the green gas coming off there, I won't get away. It'll put off the green gas. If I see it, I've already got at least one breath of it. 3 breaths, your lungs won't open back up. You can't be revived if you have oxygen right there next to you. So you want to keep this stuff stored with the lids on and keep them
Yeah.
stored upside, so be smart to have like a Costco, you got that little thing underneath right there. You don't want to put them in, like your tablets in the garage or anything, because a tablet has a pH of 1.3. Doesn't mean a whole lot, but when you open it and you smell that chlorine smell has a pH of 1.3. So if you're in your garage, you got a Harley sitting there right next to it, and you open it up, the third time you open that up, you're going to be rusting. Your lawnmower is going to be rusting. Anything that has a scratch is going to be rusting. And you're going to say, why is everything in this garage rusting?
Yeah.
It's because you're opening up that bucket in there. They all have O-rings in the lid. Keep them outside so it keeps it sealed. If you close it all the way, it keeps it sealed so water doesn't get in.
Okay.
Easiest
Okay,
thing I
so
can tell
keep
you.
the chlorine outside.
Yeah,
Outside
I
of-
keep all chemicals outside. There's no reason really to keep any of them in here.
What about a shed?
The shed, if you have it chlorine in there, it's going to rust. See, like liquid chlorine in bags. If
Okay.
you look at them, these lids are vented, which means that it breathes. Because when it gets hot, it swells. When it gets cold, and a bag, if you look at a bag of chlorine, they have a string on the top and a string on the bottom going through where the seam's melted. That is so it breathes, because they'll puff up in the summer and they'll get down skinny in the winter, because the air makes it swell up, and then in moisture makes them plug up. Yep.
Yeah.
If you just want to throw it
All
away, I'll
right.
throw it away.
So
There we go.
just keep all the chemicals outside.
See, look how
then.
it's already starting to get clear right here where I dumped that. So as that goes around, it's going to work it clearing it up pretty quick. And this is going to take care of your algae. This is going to help because it'll start to scale. Is when the pH is real high like that. Your chlorine is way more active when it's at 7.4 or 7.6. 7.0 is neutral if you remember chemistry growing up.
Yeah.
That thing at 7.4, 7.6 is what all the test kits say is where you want to have the waters, because your eyes registered at 7.4. Most people's eyes are, the pH of them. And if it's a 7.0, they're glossy white and you're digging them out of your head. Or if it's a 7.8, they're puffy and everything's got pink halo around it when you look up. That's how you don't use your eyes to test the I've had guys tell me, well, I can test it, I just look at it, I can taste the water, I know how much. Well, bull crap. You can't, I'm pretty good. I can look at it and tell shininess is non-shininess. But
Okay, so I'm sorry. So what is this?
that is liquid chlorine. Liquid chlorine is
Liquid chlorine.
12%. Okay. Bleach in a store is 6%. When they
Yeah.
make it, it comes out of the factory at 12%. It loses 1% every week. So after 6 weeks, if I had a case of liquid chlorine laying around for 6 weeks, it's nothing different than Clorox.
Yeah, we have to get a specific bleach for our aerobic system.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm seeing smoke or whatever you want to
Fumes
call
coming
it.
off there, so that's why I always pour it up. Actually, I should ask you, I'll probably move over here. The smoke coming off there is the fumes.
Yeah, it's
It will make you cough. You don't want to breathe it. I
Right.
hold my breath. I can hold my breath a long time. It's amazing when you know what you're messing with, and it kind of goes in there. So that right there is going to go. It's going to go that way. It's going to go that way. It's going to mix it around pretty good. In 15 minutes, you're going to test it. We'll be good. Now we're going to go on to the rest of it. I already showed you the basket over here. And
Okay.
If you look at the
Now,
sheet
why
over
did you add a whole one of these?
Because it was 8.4.
Okay.
That was 4 weeks of it. And basically, if you don't add acid for a week or two, so you might call me for a problem, and I might say, "What's your readings?" It's all good. It's wrong answer. You
Yeah.
gotta be able to tell me a number, okay?
Okay.
Just lie if nothing else. Just know that I'm waiting for you to say it's all good. And I know you haven't tested it before you called me, and I want you
Right.
to test it. That's
yeah.
I want you to help yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we have been, and I
And
keep,
logging it?
keep a notebook.
That's
and-
awesome.
Yeah,
Because at least a month, if you keep it, then when you take your water sample into somewhere, you can see that
yeah,
what you're reading and what they're reading is right. Make sure that they calibrate. Ask them when you go in there. Like we have a deal that spins like all the chemical companies do, and they do labs and testing blood stuff. Ask when last time it was calibrated. If they say, well, I don't know, be careful with the readings that they give you for the pH, because it is one of those sciences
Yeah.
that's a little bit off. So, and you're testing it, if you go and you put in, like say, I had an 8.2 instead of an 8.4, it was close. I put in 3/4 of a gallon instead of a whole gallon. And if you go there, they're going to tell you add a pint for 16 days. Well, if you add a pint for 16 days, you're going to have to add more pints by the time that 16 days are. You're going to test the water 2 more weeks. You know, in that time, I say do it once, get it over with, and then you're good to go. It's not going to hurt anything. I can pour that acid right there where I jumped in right there. It wouldn't even make my skin itch. It's already diluted that much of it by hitting there. See, and if the main drain opened like it is, so as I poured it in there, anything, because acid's heavier than water, that went down the main drain, picked it up and spit it out in the pool in the other jet spot. So it blends easy. So anytime you add chemicals, 15 minutes later, you can pretty much swim, because the chemicals in the old days, they had calcium hypochlorite, those real big chunks.
yeah.
And you see it floating around in the water. Now it's all triple ground and it dissolves almost instantly. So, and the whole thing about you got to wait an hour after you eat before you go swimming, that's mom and dad time. That's a myth. That's not real, okay? Keep the story going if you have kids around, but that's your parent time to go do what you need to do when they're keep them out of the pool. So there's
right.
no truth to that either. All right, so I'll leave that polishing with you, because you'll probably be wanting to buy more. And you see, I mean, the water's already looking bluer just from them putting it in there, but it works fast. It helps. So with the Polaris on, it'll help stir it up and get all that out of there.
Okay.
Your little spots right there, being that I put the chlorine in right there, it went straight across at that wall. And if you look, they go right in the corner of the steps right over there, and
Yeah.
it comes over to about, I think, right around this area right here. You're always going to get that area first. It doesn't mean in a week it won't go everywhere, but you have certain, and it's always 18 inches down.
Okay.
I don't know why it's that way.
Huh.
It's just that's the way the
That's where it
sun
wants
it,
to
it
go.
makes it all happen. All right. So
All right.
your shear descent right there, it shears good. If you ever have problems with it not coming out, you can always take a putty knife and stick it in there. Don't break the blade because there's little ribs going through there.
Right.
But if something gets caught on the back of the ribs and it has a hard time getting off, usually if you just run your fingers across it like this,
Yeah.
the water pressure moving will free up whatever's in there and it'll spit it out.
Okay.
Because it had to be pretty small to get into that point anyways.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if you take your putty knife, you put it in, don't use a Sawzall blade or anything because I'll cut the rib out of there.
Right.
And then it'll cause it to collapse and it'll pinch it real weird.
Okay.
Normally you shouldn't have problems. If you get frogs around it in here,
Haven't
get them
seen
out
any.
because
Seen many
frogs are
frogs.
terrible.
Yeah.
They're egg bags. They're slimy. They like snot kind of looking stuff, and they have little pepper looking, and it gets on. And they usually get
Disgusting.
attached to a Polaris hose for some reason. It makes that Polaris hose icky. I mean, you basically got to take towels and like real hard rub it off of there because it
Huh.
sticks onto it. Turtles, you have a turtle take it more than a quarter mile away, it'll be back in 3 days. They have built-in GPSs. They know where that water is. They know how to get there.
Haven't seen any turtles.
They probably
Frogs?
won't. It's
I
on this
haven't seen
hill.
any frogs.
Cats, deers, and fox.
Cats, deer, and fox, and
Yeah.
we're gonna get the property
The
fenced.
foxes, I don't know how they will operate. I haven't seen a lot of them around, but I've seen a lot of coyotes. They'll stay away. If you have problems with birds landing and coming out here because you're on the side of a hill and they see it, just put a beach ball in there or some kind of floating device. Put a little bit of water in there, or a little bit of sand, so it's because
Weigh it
the
down,
wind will blow
yeah.
it out of there. But you put just an inch of water in a beach ball, and it keeps it down in that spot, and it'll blow around all over the place, and it'll keep that movement keeps everything out. Raccoons are the biggest pain in the butt because they come here to drink the water, and they'll put their feet in on the tile, and their feet will go down to hit the plaster, and it goes down by an inch on the plaster, and you can see their little
Huh.
fingernails or forks or whatever going down on, and they'll be all around on the plaster and stuff. I tried. I don't see possums doing that. I don't see.
Yeah,
I've never
just
seen fox
raccoons.
what a fox does around one. But
Well, hopefully
deer
the
will
fence
stay
will
away
keep
from
the
it. The deer
raccoons
will,
out.
and that sound right there might be enough to scare them away too. That little bubbler.
Is
Yeah.
that right?
But if it turns off at 10 o'clock at night on the timer, then the nighttime thing is
Yeah,
But
that's
you
why
gotta
I said we're gonna get it fenced.
right. So we're
Yeah.
gonna
In this
we
area.
we handled everything here except for emptying the Polaris bag. Polaris bag didn't have anything in it. I can show you how to empty it if you want me to. I think you got that right.
We know how to empty it.
Right, now we're going to go to stage 3.
Okay, but the
Okay.
concern with the Polaris, two things, it gets stuck all the time
Over there.
over near the
It
steps.
shouldn't be there longer than 3.5 minutes before
Right.
the backup valve turns it on. So being that it's tangling up like that right there, the next time it's 80 degrees out, which will probably be tomorrow afternoon if you're around, or Saturday, take it out for 4 hours, put one end of the hose over there,
Okay,
and put the head over here straight on the deck, because that gets, after a while, when the water's cooler, up to about 72 to 74 is when it starts to break free. It gets memory like fishing line does, like monofilament gets fit, it gets
Yeah.
in a circle.
okay.
You stretch it out on a warm day and whoo, it goes away immediately.
Huh,
And it's
okay.
just because where it's at, it's got stuff on this side and that big island right there sticks out. And it goes around over there. That's why the hose is a little bit longer than should be to the furthest points where it should go. But we want it to actually loop to be able to try to ride itself off there. So the tires should be
Yeah.
getting stickier now. When I first put it in, remember how slick the tires were? And it
Yeah,
would just kind
it's
of bounce
going,
on the
going
wall.
up the side. It doesn't really go up on the steps or the sun shelf, but it is
It'll
kind
never
of,
go up
yeah,
on the sun
it is
shelf.
going up the walls a
Because
certain
that
amount.
football float on the back of it, that's
Yeah.
its balancing point. That has to be standing up. And for it to get itself up on top of the sun shelf and that to be up there,
Right.
it'll be way out of water. And then the hose going up, it won't allow it to do it.
Yeah.
I've seen 2 of them 2 years ago, and I've been doing this for 30-something years. Go up on a sun deck, and it went up on its side. It just happened to clear on its side on one pool, and then 2 weeks later another pool. And it just rode around its side all the way over the other side and just drove off. Like up on like this.
Yeah.
It didn't stand up because it can't balance that way.
Right, okay.
All right.
Okay,
So
can
from-
you show me how to disconnect
Yes.
the Polaris?
I can show you how to disconnect
sure
it,
it's
but I won't be able to plug it back in unless I turn that pump
And
off.
we
You'll
need
have
to check and make sure
Oh,
that
well, you want to do that
tubing,
later?
I want to show you now so you can do it. And
Okay.
You'll see what I mean when we try to put
yeah,
it back
we
on.
need to make sure the tubing is on tight. The one that
we
kept
take it
coming
in,
off.
And we push it in.
Okay.
Push it in. And each of the turns, it comes up.
Yeah,
The 2
okay.
little nipples down in there.
Yep.
Now trying to do it, the thing's blowing, even though the pump's not on, it's blowing so hard that it'd be, unless you're standing in front of it, you're not going to get it on there from above.
Okay.
All right, so one was loose. That one was a little loose. It should be afloat every 30 inches. There's too many that'll cause it to kink up. So that's on here, right? on these swivels, there is an arrow on all of them. Everything that shows which way the water is supposed to go. It's on the back side right there. Right. See that head pointing that way? It means the arrow's on that side. Right there.
Okay, yeah.
Right, so it's going that way, coming from the wall, and going towards the head, which is right. That's your acorn, your backup valve. At 10 months, I'd put in your phone a reminder to go get your warranty checkup.
Polaris checked.
Disconnect it here. Don't tell them you're having a warranty checkup when you take it in. Just tell them it's not working right. Go bench test it and do whatever they need to do to make it go. So on all the middle parts, so we got that part right there on that one. We're going to have the word facing towards the front. No big deal. Doesn't have anything in it. That just when that bleach I put in there, tomorrow it should be, that green will be gone.
Yeah.
Right? So when we go to put it in there, we always want to leave it in the water like this. It's best to do it with it on to keep the stuff blown up in the bag. Push that down on there. And take this. There was a little white clip that this used to be connected to. Do you still have that laying around, you think?
A white eye.
It's a little clip that this kind of went onto, and it holds that bag. Lets it slide up and down right here.
I don't remember a clip,
I'll look and see if I got an
but
extra one in my
it
truck.
could have come loose.
Yeah,
So that was connected incorrectly?
No, it was backwards. The bag was just backwards.
Oh,
See?
okay. I thought you were
Yeah,
saying.
no, it wasn't connected at all. It was just
connected. I thought you were talking about that connection.
Now there's a
Yeah.
clip that used to slide right here
Yeah.
that this went onto. So the way the bag works is it's rounded like that, and the stuff blows up through here, goes down around, and settles down behind here. Okay, so if it's on backwards, it won't allow it to fill up, and it'll cause it to drive funny because it's trying to puff up the wrong way,
Okay.
and it's not going to allow it to do
So
that.
yeah, so we need a clip.
It should be 1 inch behind, or 1 finger behind with that finger, and that should be pointing straight back, just like it is, to keep it tracking right.
All right, and so the hose is on the Polaris correctly, because
The hose is
that's
correctly-
where it was coming loose,
So
right
see
down
the
near
male part's right here sticking out. The tapered part goes on the male part, and then the hose goes on, and then you screw it out to the barb that's on there, and that barb's what locks it on there. Okay, this is your pop-off valve. If too much water's getting to it, this is where the water comes out. It can be on 2 ways, either down or up. It doesn't matter, just whichever way your little knobs are in there that catches, and you twist it. I'm going to try to put it on, but I think there's too much pressure going through there right now to do that. So I turn it off. No, I'm able to get it. Actually, that's pretty awesome.
Well,
If you turn that pump on, it won't let you do that. It's because it's going at 1750 right now. It's not got a tremendous back pressures or anything.
So is there water coming out of this?
Yep,
now?
there's water always coming out of that right now.
Even though
So-
Polaris is not running.
Yep. So when the freeze comes in the wintertime, you just need the main pump to be running because water circulates through this all the time.
Okay.
Okay? So it doesn't have to run. You can run it for cleaning, but it doesn't have to be on because water movement is not going to freeze. All right, see our hose is floating good right now. That doesn't mean it's not going to tangle up coming back into this little nook right here. But
Yeah.
it should pull itself out as it tangles up. 'Cause I watched it when I first got here, and it had about 4 coils right here, and 2 of them pulled out pretty good, but the third one, it was struggling with pulling. So you can test the water anywhere. You don't have to get down right here. You could, if you have that on, you could lean out and just let the water run over it for a second and take a look at it, if that's easier for you to do. I sometimes have issues getting up after it's been a long day for me. I kind of wobble a little bit. But no, I'm good. Actually, I've learned to do it pretty simple, and as long as I lean back away from the pool, I
Yeah.
won't fall in. I might fall
Yeah.
over, but I won't fall in. Just one of my observations. Okay, so now that's good. Let's go do the stage 3 stuff over here.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to turn the pool off first and do it the right way, and then we'll do our experiment.
All right.
I think just doing it the right way will help you. You want to go grab 3 tablets?
Yeah.
garage. Oh, I closed it.
Yeah, you want at the big slab over here?